everybody, it's Friday Farm Vlog, and today we're going to talk about milking goats because I had someone ask if the goat milk machine that I use, if I would recommend it, if it's a good one. And so I'm going to show you how it works and let you know that I really enjoy my milk machine. I think it really helps out with trying to get my goats milked. Just having two milking goats, having a milk machine just makes it more efficient for me. I don't get little hand cramps when I'm trying to do my tiny teat technique on these little Nigerian dwarf goats. So I really like it, but I just want to say that I only use it seasonally when my goats are in milk, and so the rest of the year they're either pregnant or they are dried off or they are nursing their babies. So I do use it for a small window each year, but for the last two milking seasons that I've used it, it's worked out really good, and I haven't had issues with it aside from having to replace the tubing because that needs to be replaced. I believe they recommend every 3 months, and so that's typical and good practice to do. So I am going to show you where I keep it, my little setup for it, how I put it together. We're going to go milk the goats so that I have milk for my family to drink and also to save milk for making goat milk soap. Now, with it just being a backyard farm, I don't have like a separate milking area, a separate milk processing area, or anything like that. If you are selling milk, you do need to follow regulations of your state for processing and collecting milk and selling it, all those things. I don't do that. This is just a backyard farm and how I personally like to prepare and clean my milk machine. So I do keep it under the sink. I do have a nice bin that I keep everything in. This is the bowl that I use to wash my milker in. I do use the tools that came with it to clean it. This wire brush and then this long brush. But this is the hand top milker. And it's a good size. Honestly, my two goats only really fill it to maybe here. So I've got room to grow if Miss Elizabeth Bennett decides to have some babies in the future, or hey, Sparkle eventually. I should have potentially enough room to milk, I would think 3 or 4 goats, depending how much milk they're providing. But it comes with the actual milk machine that I can either plug in or I can charge it and just use it without plugging it in. I do prefer it plugged in because I find the suction is so much better with it plugged in. I do have outlets in my goat shed to be able to plug it in, which just makes things go more efficiently as far as speed of getting milk. And the only other things in this container currently is my Fight Back teat disinfectant. I spray my goats' teats after each milking with this, and this is just a disinfectant spray to keep them from getting mastitis, which is an infection in their udder. And then I use Bag Balm as a moisturizer for their teats, so after I spray it and it dries, then I put a little bit of this just to moisturize their teats to reduce soreness and keep them comfortable. Now the teat cups, I actually hang those to dry because I don't want any water after I wash it to be like sitting in there. So it's actually hanging. I use like a clothes hanger. And I just hang it to dry. So that way everything can just kind of drip out. There's not usually that much moisture in there, but you don't want to have any moisture trapped. I do use this milk machine once a day during milking season and let that hang to dry. Once this is dry, I pop it in the bucket. Everything goes underneath the sink for storage until the next morning when I milk again. But after each use, I do clean it and then store it. So this is clean and ready to go. So I can just pop this closed so that way I can carry it. I do like that it has numbers to help you out with which with which tubing goes where. So this has a number 2 on it, which I can match to the number 2 here to pop it on. So I just slide that into place. And then the other end of the number 2 tubing goes on the number 2 spot here. So there's 1 and 2. So it's really nice to have the numbers. This one has a number 3, which I pop in the number 3 spot. And that connects directly to my teat cups. So there's no other side to connect. It stays connected to my teat cups. And then the last one does not have a number. It used to have a number. It definitely fell off, but it's the only one without a number, and that is number 1. But it's the only port left anyways, so I just pop that into number 1. But it would be smart of me to use a permanent marker and put a number 1 on here, just in case other stickers come off. And I'm gonna actually write it on the other 2, just in case these sticker numbers come off. They haven't yet on these other ones, but there's always a first time. Put a number 2. Now, I'm just remembering, I have had times where there's gotten little tiny tears in this tubing because sometimes I have a tighter angle here and the metal breaks through. And it's really simple if you get a little tear there, just to give it a quick cut with some regular scissors and be all set to go with a fresh end. So I have done that a couple times when I've put too much strain on here. But easy fix. All right, so that goes to number 1. So then these ports are covered, these ports are covered. Now I can put it in my container to take it out for milking. So I pop it all in. I like to keep my openings clean on my teat cups here. So I just slide a clean bag over them or saran wrap over the top, just because once I go outside, it's not as clean as my kitchen out there, and the wind's blowing, things are blowing, things can go in there. I just like to keep them covered, keep any dirt and debris out. So I do cover them up. With whatever I have available, Ziploc bags or a little saran wrap. And then I can pop them into my bucket. And then I just need 4 more things for my bucket before I can go out. Before milking, I wash my goat's teats with povidone iodine solution that has been diluted in warm water, as well as just a little drop of Dawn dish soap. And that's just so I can clean their udders well, and then I wash them with a warm water wipe just to get any of that iodine and soap off of the udder. So you can use designated washcloths for this, or you can use paper towels. I've been using paper towels. I should switch to washcloths though. Designated goat teat cleaning washcloths. So So I do get my paper towels and make it easy for me having them in a bag, and I add warm water for the wipes. So I got my warm washcloths ready to go. The goats prefer when they're warm. It helps relax them more, let the milk down. For the washing part, put my paper towels in here. Warm water, drop of soap, a splash of iodine, so the iodine doesn't mix right away, so I do swoosh it around a bit, try to dilute it and mix it all in there. Just make sure this is well secured so you don't have a mess on your hands. But once it's bubbly and looks diluted, it should be like a light tan color. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Extra little splash, because I like it like a weak tea color. That way I can make sure it's diluted enough that it's not gonna sting them, but also be effective at cleaning. So once I have that weak tea color, I definitely don't like to keep this much liquid in there. So as long as my paper towels are saturated, it's good to go. And I got it all sudsy. But I have had where if I do keep the liquid in there, as soon as I open it, it always pours out and ends up like in my lap. So it's just better to pour it off. Okay, and then the last two items that I put in this bucket is the snacks for the goats. Now the goats will get up on that milk stand, and I have trained them that when that milk machine turns on, they get a special treat, and they love special treats. And so when they hear that noise, instead of getting nervous, they start looking for their treat. And so that has really helped with getting them used to the milk machine. And their favorite go-to is bananas. So that's my go-to, is giving them bananas. But occasionally I'll switch it up and do other treats that I know that they like special goat treats. Like we have little licorice and apple treats and things like that. But bananas are definitely their like top snack choice. So I always make sure that I stay stocked on bananas. So with the bananas in here, we are ready to go. When I get out into the goat shed, Fancy Nancy jumps right up there ready to eat and get milked. So I get everything set up. I do use a dollar store duster to sweep off the milk station. I set up all my wipes, and I do 2 wipes with the iodine solution wipes, and then I use 2 wipes that are just plain water to clean up the soapy iodine mix. And then I clamp off the milk machine tubing. I give her banana and turn on the machine. I hook the milk machine up to each teat by opening up the clamp that I clamped down, and that allows the suction to start. I do hold it in place at first, and once the suction is good, I can release holding it. Depending on how much milk they have in their udder and how quickly their udder milks out will determine how long it's going to take for this machine to milk them out. But I did time each of my goats' milking times. Here you'll see I forgot to actually close the head stall, and she realized it and came to see what was going on. So I just locked her back into place.
And the milk machine finished after 1 minute and 54 seconds of milking her. So it does work pretty quickly. Do find that it's better to remove the teat cups quickly. If you leave them on for too long, they do get tighter. I just squeezed out the last of her milk from her udder, and I made sure to spray it down with a disinfectant and put some ointment on there. Now it's Amelia Bedelia's turn. So do you remember how to do it? We're gonna wipe everything down. Make sure she's got enough food. I'm going to express her teats to make sure we clear any debris from her teat ducts. I'm giving her her banana and getting the machine all hooked up, unclamping. Set up the teat cups on there so they can start suctioning. I held up the machine teat cups up at first, but then they were able to hold their own weight once the suction kicked in. I do occasionally massage the udder, and that can help let the milk down. Amelia Bedelia has a larger udder and doesn't milk out quite as quickly as Fancy Nancy, so it takes a little bit longer and some more encouragement. But she does give us a good amount of milk, which we really appreciate. So it took 3 minutes and 38 seconds to milk her out. I removed the teat cups, put everything away. I give her a little spray of disinfectant spray and put the moisturizer on her teats. I like to give them a little snack after they finish. Then I head back into the house with my milk machine and milk. I do take out a clean mason jar, and I take out my filter. I get everything ready so that I can put the milk in there. With the milk machine, I just have to detach the 2 tubes on the top there and then remove the cover on the milk bucket. So we got some milk in there. I use a coffee filter to filter my milk, and I do so into a measuring cup just because it helps with the wider rim there. And then I use the measuring cup to pour it into the smaller mouth mason jars. I do have some with a wider mouth, which makes it so that I can use it without the measuring cup, but this way works well with the more narrow mouth mason jars. Now, some people do double filter their milk. You certainly can do that. I just have the one filter, and that works well for us. So I just do my best to get every last drop, and then I put the cover on, and we have a nice jar of warm goat milk, fresh from the goats.
Okay, so we ended up with just over 4 cups, which is a little less than usual, but it definitely fluctuates, and that's okay because we have more than enough milk for our family with the 2 goats and to make goat milk soap as well. And so this is nice and warm. I do pop it into the freezer for 1 hour, and then that chills it real quick, and then I pop it in the fridge. We try to drink it in like 3 to 5 days. After that, I pop it into ice cube trays if we haven't consumed it, and that is frozen for me to use to make goat milk soap. So we love Nigerian dwarf goat milk because it's so rich and creamy. It's got a high butter fat content in there, and it's from our goats, so we know what they're eating, where the milk's coming from, so we really enjoy it. If you want to see how I clean this milk machine after each use, let me know down in the comments, and if you do, I will make a video on how I thoroughly clean it out so it's ready for the next usage. But thanks for joining me today on Friday Farm Vlog. If you liked this video, please click the like button down below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, can you hit that subscribe button? And that way you'll see more of our videos, and it really helps our channel. We really appreciate it. Bye.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want to farm, a wicked awesome farm. Watch this channel to learn what to do. We love to farm and we'll show you. Yeah, welcome to our show. Whoa. Just one